We all know that adequate hydration is very, very important today. However, the problem is, most of the time your water is sodium deficient. So it's always good to add some Himalayan crystal salt to your water to improve hydration and absorption. You just need a pinch, shake, and away you go. Before or after? Both. Actually, it's better during. You can always add electrolytes to your water. They're always very, very useful. They improve training drive and concentration, which you can become dehydrated. Because if you're sweating and losing water, you always have to replace that. So you're more likely to spasm a muscle if you're dehydrated or lacking in electrolytes. So you're taking electrolytes while you're training, and that prevents muscles from cramping up and improves their contractibility. Lucozade does contain some electrolytes. The problem is that the glycemic index, which is the sugar level of Lucozade, is so high it actually counteracts the amount of electrolytes you're taking in. So all you end up doing is spiking your glucose levels, making you store more body fat. The only time I would recommend Lucozade to anybody is if they're suffering from hypoglycemia, which is where the blood sugars drop too low, and then the brain starts to starve for glucose. So it brings the level up very, very quickly, but it should only be used as a first aid device. Hypoglycemia only happens to people when they've trained too hard and not had enough fuel before training, or if they've been doing a particularly hard training session and they've actually managed to burn off all the glucose out of the bloodstream. It is rare to happen if you've eaten properly before training. Usually you're fine. As long as you keep yourself well hydrated, you should be okay. A good meal to eat before training would be something that improves neurotransmitters in your brain. So meat and nuts are always good things to have before training, or a strong black coffee. Because before training you want cortisol to be as high as possible so you get as much training drive and your muscles will contract better and you'll get more force production through your muscles. So anything that's caffeinated or high in protein or fats is good before training. The worst thing to have before training is sugars. Because sugars will spike your insulin levels, which will make you feel tired and weak, and you will not be able to train as hard. Post-workout, sugars are good, providing that your body fat is low enough to be able to handle it. You have to earn your carbohydrates. So if you're quite overweight or your body fat is high, even then you should avoid having too much sugar post-workout. You can have eggs, any kind of meat, any kind of nuts. You could have some legumes or cheese. Anything that's high quality fats and proteins would be fine. All right? The one thing you want to make sure if you do having any fats, including nuts, is try to go for organic, because if you remember, fat store in toxins, or toxins store in fat, so if you're taking fats in, you want them toxic free. Any of those are absolutely fine. If you're choosing sausage, just make sure that they're gluten free. The reason for that is because most people are gluten intolerant. In fact, the current stats are that approximately 75% of people walking around today are gluten intolerant. So if there's 4 of you in a room, 3 of you are more than likely going to be allergic to gluten. Which means that your body's just going to take that and store it as fat. Gluten is a protein molecule found in most grains. The only grains that are truly gluten-free are millet, rice, corn and buckwheat. Those are the 4 true gluten-free grains. You can buy gluten-free oats, although most oats today do contain gluten because of cross-contamination from the places they're manufactured. Oats don't typically actually contain gluten. It's the wheat particles that get transferred on them during the manufacture process. So all grains apart from corn, millets, rice and buckwheat contain gluten and therefore should be avoided. Okay, before training, your nutrition should be in your system with at least 45 minutes to spare, with the exception of pre-workout mixes. So a pre-workout might be a powder or a solution that you take that improves training drive. These are usually things that are processed, so sometimes they're not ideal and they usually have a lot of sweetness in, but apart from that, if you're talking about real food, you want to be giving yourself at least 45 minutes before working out to allow that to digest and absorb into the body. Any less than 45 minutes, you're going to impede your digestibility of the food, and you're probably not going to absorb it effectively. In fact, it's going to have the reverse effect, and you're not going to absorb it, you're probably going to just store it. The reason why you want to give yourself that long to absorb your nutrition is because on a hormonal level, training is a stress. Anything that improves the stress level or increases the stress level in the body increases cortisol production. When cortisol is high, your digestion, your immune system, your pain receptors are all suppressed because your body is trying to protect itself from the danger that it perceives from the increase in cortisol. So your digestion and your absorption are going to go low if cortisol is high. When your cortisol drops down, that's when your absorbability is the highest. When the danger is past and the stress levels are gone, it's okay to eat. So post-workout, if you have insulin or an insulin spike, so from the form of sugars, your cortisol levels will drop down. That means that your absorbability will go back up, your immune function will go back up, and you'll repair quicker. Post-workout, the sooner you get nutrition into your body, the better. The longer from finishing training to you eating or taking in some nutrients, the reduced the absorbency is going to be. So usually a lot of people take a protein shake in. As long as your body can absorb the protein shake because it's from the right source, then protein shakes are okay, but you want as minimally processed as possible. Ideally, you should always want to try to go for food. So again, some meats or some fish or some eggs will always be better for you because it's real food, it's unprocessed. However, if that's not available, then a protein shake is an acceptable alternative. But again, you want to try and go for as minimally processed. So anything with soy protein in should be avoided. So ideally you want to be going for either a whey or a vegan source of protein because these are going to be absorbed better into the body. The magic window is said to be around 30 minutes. So anything after 30 minutes you're losing out on recovery time. So like I said before, the sooner you get it into your body, the better.